We might be live. Maybe. 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 That dong, da dong, dong, dong. Oof, that is a lot of white. That sounded weird. It sounds bad when I just have no context.
The Cleopatra cast?
Ha ha! Bazinga!
No, I do. I have. My take is, it's like, are Israeli white?
Well, it's more of a white passing issue. So that's really where it is. Is that, and I'll get into that. Is that some of it is people don't understand that Cleopatra was not African. She's not a descendant of of a country in Africa. It's possible her mother was. So it is possible she might have been darker, because we don't really have a good idea who her mother was, because they conveniently will have her. You'll notice sometimes in her lineage, they'll be like, it's not even just like they don't know. They're like, yep, they intend to. Seems like they intentionally did not want to keep the name of that mother, and it's like, that seems odd. Almost like maybe they were a servant or a slave, possibly. So you didn't want that in the history books. So
gotta protect that lineage.
Gotta protect that lineage. And that's just a quick pass at it. There's a little more, just more detail to it than that. But that's the first thing, is that she's Macedonian, definitely Greek, so she would have been darker skin. She would have been brown skin for sure. But but she wouldn't have been completely white, and then she wouldn't have been super dark, as far as like the range of dark colors you get across the African continent. And then, what was it? But then you get into, like you're talking about Israeli, is that, yeah, culturally it's not that far off as far as like having access to it. And then Gal Gadot grew up in Tel Aviv, so it's not like she's like American-born with Israeli parents. Like, no, she's Israeli. She's not an American. Like, it's just not a. But she can pass white. True. So, are there other Israelis that could be dark-skinned and probably have a closer palate? For sure, but.
Well, we just gave up our.
I know, we just got right into it. Oh, hold on. Let me go. I want to make sure we're live. Hey, that was a good test.
We are live.
We are live. It says we're live on Skippity-Poo. Skippity-Doo. Says
on the Facebooks.
On the Facebooks. On the
As you move a mouse around my face.
Bounce around your face. A mouse on Tom's face. A mouse on Tom's face. I don't know why I'm so beatboxy today. All right. Hello, everyone out there on Facebook and Twitch land and YouTube. We can see all three of you.
For all of you who aren't watching the debates right now.
Yeah, I assume we'll be a little solo, but we're hopefully giving some other programming so that you don't have to. Hello, Peppers. Hold on one second.
Yep.
Let me see who's coming in now.
Yeah, we also are probably being beat up by AOC right now.
I'm on my show right now. No, you're good. You're good.
Tessa!
He's back. I'm back. Sorry, when I see the dog just come in the room, I'm like, probably means the door open, and roommate might be in it. Like, it's always good, folks, if you're gonna do a show, to give your roommate a heads up so they don't like run into the room and be like, noises.
Yeah.
Noises.
And dogs.
And dogs. She's a cute dog. She's a cute little dog. All right. Well, this is not the most news-packed commercial Commander Shipp show. I was about to say State and Nerd Union. Can't keep shows straight. Yeah, it's not the most news packed, but we're excited for this one. Sorry we couldn't meet last week. I was still covering Chicago Film Festival. I'm still covering Chicago Film Festival. That's why we did not have it last night. And even when I get done with this, I have more movies I need to finish watching and into the weekend. So it's been a little packed on my end. So definitely apologize for that. But we should be back to normal-ish next week. We got our Halloween horror marathon guests, Ollie and Barton, coming on to talk the marathon list. So we'll talk about what we picked, on top of the ones that did not make the marathon, but the ones we still think you should watch in your own time. And this will not be like these are the top 100. It's like, no, we talk our favorite movies, but it's like, Tom, we sometimes do lists. We've done
certain lists. Yes, we've done like, hey, these are the sci-fi movies you should rewatch.
Yeah, but as far as like actually ranking them and stuff like that, we just don't really. I hate that, because you end up fighting over minutia. That's like, I'd rather just say like, this is a grouping of really good films. Maybe there's the more debate about what should be in that grouping and like what's on the bubble of that, and that's cool. But why limit yourself? Unless, again, we're limiting ourselves for the marathon, but if we had more time, we'd do it all week and could, and if it wasn't horror, for sci-fi, God, good Lord, if it were sci-fi, we'd be...
No, that's, like, I mean, it's...
We'd need a month.
Like, okay, which is better, Friday the 13th 2 or 3? Or is it 1? And then why? It's just, it's mental masturbation.
All right. But yeah, talking about a few. There's not as many movie setbacks as you probably think. So I don't have a ton of those to report. Everything is pretty much, unless something happens tonight or tomorrow that I don't know about, or later in the week, because that can always happen. Not everything has abandoned ship for the fall, even though a lot of theaters are closing. So give it time. We'll probably see some updates on that. But as it stands right now, the calendar updates we've given you the past couple weeks don't have any major ones to report. So yeah, I'll tell you about Gerald Butler's Greenland, but all right. But before we get into all that, Tom, how are you doing?
Peachy keen right now.
Peachy
Yes.
keen.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I voted this week. That was fun. And the rest of my week was at a Splunk conference. For those who don't know what Splunk is, it is a data to everything tool. It takes all the machine data and tries to help make sense of it all to you. So that was also very exciting and riveting.
A Splunk conference.
Yep.
Splunk.
Yes. The dirty named software that is a very boring thing.
It's totally all right. No, sorry, just the way it hit my ears at first. I was like,
oh no, I'm yes. But think of it like spelunking, not the other thing. Like into a cave. This is not helping. Yes.
Let's see. I'm gonna skip the first. I'm gonna see if I can grab the photo real quick. So I'll jump into the Greenland. Tom, do you want to pull the? Actually, no. I'll grab the photo for. I'll grab the photos for that first topic, and then we'll jump down to Greenland for a bit. Basically, it's a typical Meteor movie. The Greenland, Gerald Butler's beard. Would have been great to see that on the big screen, but it's going to be streaming December 18th. So the actual premise of it, if I'm not joking, is there's a meteor we think is going to pass Earth. And if you don't know about the meteor that's passing Earth that NASA just landed on, you should go. Or sorry, the asteroid that NASA just landed on, you should go check that out. But basically, that's what the premise is that we thought it was going to miss, and it didn't. So the world, it's the fallout from that. what hits the Earth, whether it's going to be cataclysmic and so on and so forth.
Yep. So, and great news, there's a meteor that's going to pass nearby just before the election, the day before the election. Bad news is that there is a slight possibility that it will hit us. Good news is it's about the size of a refrigerator. So,
yeah,
probably won't do a lot of damage.
We don't need to strike up the Aerosmith soundtrack. Send some drillers up there with a nuke. Have the remote detonator go off at the or break at the last.
Need to fire up the Aerosmith soundtrack ever. Even if the world is ending, please no. We're suffering enough as it is.
You know, my favorite. This is a tangent, but it's related to that detonator thing. My favorite part of Galaxy Quest is the countdown timer ending at 1 second, and they have to. It takes them a second to be like, "Wait, why did the show? It always ends at 1 on the show," and because they built everything to resemble the show. So like, yeah, I love little nods like that. So anyone that makes fun of the fact of like, why can't the remote detonator ever work in a movie when we need it to? Why did the bomb never go off like it's supposed? You know, I like those little nods.
Though I will give a shout out to Bond movies where on several occasions it didn't stop at 1 second, but 0.007 seconds.
That is true. That's true. Cool. So we talked about this next one on State of Nerd Union for a little bit. I kind of want to dive into it a little bit more with Tom because he'll understand my issue with this Spider-Man news. So Doctor Strange is going to be coming to Spider-Man 3. And my question really is, do we really need another mentor character for Peter Parker? And again, apparently Marvel thinks so, but Tony had already filled that role for a bit. But it just seems very counterproductive to Spider-Man.
Yeah. I'm not 100% sure if he's going to be a mentor or if he's just going to be the plot device to open up the multiverse. But I do think it's kind of interesting how it went from Iron Man, who is Ultra Tech, to Mysterio, which was like this mystic tech, to now just 100% mystic. Which is kind of interesting.
It's kind of an interesting transition. It's like tech, faking the mystical powers, and then like actual OG, like legit magic.
Rabbit out of the hat shit.
Yeah. Cool.
I'm gonna wait and see. I hope to God he's not a mentor, and I think he's just a plot device.
And I'd be fine with that. Yeah, if that's what he is, it's cool. But Spider-Man needs some time. This Spider-Man needs some time to be Spider-Man, like independent of Tony's toys, and like show us who you are. And that's and that's not saying the movies are bad. I've enjoyed these new Spider-Man movies. I think they're much better quality as far as what we've gotten in the past. Although I still have a fond spot for the first two Tobey Spider-Man. We don't talk about that. We don't talk about that other one. We don't talk about jazz hands. We don't talk about finger guns. we don't talk about
Dark Spider-Man.
Dark Spider-Man. Let's see. Okay, so some logistical things that are happening that are interesting to note is Benedict Cumberbatch is filming this first. So they intentionally delayed Doctor Strange on top of like they were waiting on to figure out some director stuff, and Sam Raimi ended up coming in to be the director for the new Doctor Strange. So Doctor Strange 2, which is Multiverse of Madness. He's going to be in it. Mordo will have some role in it, and Wanda, Scarlet Witch, is going to be in that movie to some degree, or to a significant degree. And we heard the rumor a couple weeks ago that the Quicksilver from the X-Men universe was possibly going to be retconned or brought in some way. If something screwy happens during WandaVision, to be brought in as her new brother. And obviously won't look like the previous Quicksilver, but will have some shenanigans there to how she brought that Quicksilver back. So it seems like we could be in multiverse stuff for 3 or at least two movies, or maybe the TV show connects these two together. On top of all the rumors we've been getting about the Spider-Verse, like the live-action Spider-Verse movie, and having that in meta, the actual meta with Toby and who's the other guy? Andrew Garfield.
Yes, and don't forget Nicolas Cage.
Hey, if he wants to come on and play Noir Spider-Man, I'd be fine with that.
I would be kind of curious to see him play a live-action Noir Spider-Man, but I think he's too busy with jiu-jitsu.
Oh. Sometimes I gotta just let the flame burn down to my fingers just so I can feel something. All right. Before we move on, we'll go out to our audience out there on the interwebs. Totally, if you're doing other things, it's all right. We don't expect people to listen to this the entire time. We're kind of bob weaving in. But if you have any questions so far, or have a comment, or have something you want us to talk about, you can always throw that out there. So we'll give you a couple seconds, and we'll move on to the next thing. And while I'm stalling, I'll pull up the Tom Holland Uncharted photo because I thought this was pretty. I was apprehensive of him playing Nathan Drake in video game movies already are. Gosh, we could. That could be a topic in itself that we can come back to. And also, why are we getting a Monster Hunter movie this year compared to, you know what? But I can't get Dune. La 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 la. You know.
Yeah.
But when I think of Nathan Drake, thinking of another Nathan Fillion comes to mind. He's got the jawline for it.
Yes.
If I think of who could be a new modern indie? I was Nathan Fillion. So Tom Holland was not my, that was just not in my head of that's who you should pick. But
he's a bit young.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have the 5 o'clock shadow that one would expect, but I think he could fill the role at some point. I mean, talent-wise, I really don't have any doubts.
We've just threw it on screen there for folks so they can check it out. And I mean, this is just one of the wrapping set photos because they're wrapping up filming tomorrow on Uncharted, and they will be starting. Tom Holland's got to go right from Uncharted right into Spider-Man. He gets no break in between there. He's doing Uncharted and then going right into Spider-Man. But from that set photo, it's not bad. I thought he was going to be really kind of too scrawny for. I'm not trying to say he's not muscular by any means, but he's still he's more like gymnast athletic for the Spider-Man role as opposed to and again, it's not even saying that Nathan Drake is overly muscular, but I think it's just about the stature of Nathan Drake, and I'm like, are you going to be able to fill that? Then the photo, I like it so far. It's like when the Batman trailer came out. The photos were a little weird, but then when he finally starts beating some heads, you're like, all right, I might have to shut up. give me that goth, give me that emo Batman. I want it.
Yeah, emo Batman.
Hey, embrace it.
As long as he sparkles.
As long as he sparkles. So long as it's like rain hitting the suit and there happens to be some refraction of light, I will be okay with that.
No, I want the sunlight to hit him, and whenever he's Bruce Wayne, he sparkles.
Wow.
Yes.
Maybe someone accidentally got some glitter on the set.
Maybe.
As a practical joke.
It does get everywhere, so.
That's true. Just its mere existence means it's going to get on someone.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Next up, I don't tend to really get into Twitter stuff unless it's really interesting. And actually, I made me think of another one. Another topic that's not Twitter focused, but I saw it on Twitter, so I'll bring it up in a second. But the first one, we talked about the Avengers. Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt's not a super outspoken Republican, but typically out of the Hollywood Chris's, he tends to be downed quite a bit. If you've seen the classic "one has to go" meme that goes around the internet of like pick these type of like pick waffle fries, pick string fries, pick McDonald's fries, or pick tater tots. One of them has to go. It's the same. Like someone did this exact same thing with the Hollywood Chris's, like Chris Evans, Chris Pine, Chris Pratt, and I'm forgetting a Chris.
Hemsworth.
There you go, Chris Hemsworth. There's too many Chris's.
Of the Chris's, it is a close race in my mind between the Pratt and the Pine. Any Chris P's are in trouble.
Wait a minute. I love Chris Pine. After Into the Woods,
I think Chris Pine's good. I think he can be fun. I just neither Pratt or Pine come close to Evans or Hemsworth.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll allow it. I'm just kidding.
Well, if we were playing Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and they remove two, those would be the two most obvious. Would be Evans and Hemsworth, because Evans is just a sweet man, and Hemsworth is Australian. So.
Gosh, was the question who was a Musketeer? I don't think any of them were.
Actually, Pine might have been.
Pine would have been a Musketeer. That'd been.
Maybe.
While you're looking it up, so, and the only reason I bring this up is just because the dynamics behind it. Because, so if there are some legitimate things to be concerned about with Chris Pratt, things he has not been particularly expressive about as far as like his religion, like as far as how he's vocally expressed his religion. I don't think there's been any problems with that, but the church he goes to has some problematic views, so he should come back out. He should come out and clean that up a little bit. And then the meme just got a little weird this time. This is not the first. Like Amy Berg is the one that posted it. You can check out her account. I forget if she's another like TV writer. So you can check it out. But this is not the first time this one's been shared. It's been on the internet just for whatever reason. It's flared up this time, and it got a little intense to the point to where even his father-in-law Arnold Schwarzenegger had to come in and like give some, and the rest of the Avengers cast came in to like defend him as far as the attacks that were coming in, and that led to another issue of why the Avenger stars tend to like take onus for attacks on their male co-stars, but when Brie Larson's getting attacked by fans, doesn't seem to have the same amount of support. And the problem is the internet keeps receipts. So if you go search this on YouTube, or sorry, not YouTube, but go search this on Twitter, internet, Google, like you can quickly find like, oh yeah, y'all were a little quiet. Y'all. It's not that. It's not even trying to say that they gave like lengthy defenses for Chris Pratt on the internet. That's not even what we're trying to say. But it's like, oh, this is like noticeably absent. Like y'all weren't saying anything. So I don't know.
I do feel for Brie Larson because she is absolutely the last person to join the Pantheon.
Yeah, there could be some group dynamics there too. Of like,
yeah.
Hey, I know all these folks. We've been around a long time. But you, like to what you were just saying, she was the last one in. So maybe there just wasn't that close-knitness or that eagerness to just jump out and like throw themselves out for someone they don't know that well.
Yeah, I wonder about that. It's actually kind of interesting. I was watching for my next guest with David Letterman. And Robert Downey Jr. was on it.
That's a really good series.
Yes. I intended to watch the Lizzo one, but then I thought, I'll watch RDJ. So didn't really talk much about the Avengers' life other than what a huge investment it was for him, but it would have been kind of interesting if they dived into that the group dynamics. Yeah,
and you see it play out on the interviews and stuff, and they're on the like when they're on Kimmel or something like that, or Fallon. But again, getting them all on the same stage is hard. they end up having to do different groups. You might see one group on Kimmel while the other group's on Colbert and so on and so forth. And even then, some of the other interviews are more like two, like coupled up, you know. So yeah, I do feel like people need to calm down a little bit. I would totally get it if Chris Pratt had came out and actually said some disgusting stuff and be like, okay, but a lot of it's been just a little more assumptive. Yeah. And the only reason, again, I'm just curious how things work, how these things, like what caused the internet to, like, because this has been around a while, so why did it this time flare up? Was it more about his Republican leanings and we're just close to an election and that's what blew it all up? Probably.
I think a lot of people are just, we're all pretty sensitive and raw about this. So, and, you know, I think that even the slightest whiff of things start to get people to be questionable about it. Yeah.
Well, all right. We'll quit talking about the lesser Chris here.
Yes.
Although I'm kind of curious, is there a Chris that could take his spot? I think there's been some threads about suggesting who could be the next Chris to get into the 4. I don't know why you just don't increase it to 5. The Pantheon.
Which Chris then?
Which what?
Which Chris? Is there a Chris out there?
There's got to be.
That you want? I mean, there's at least one other person named Chris, but sure. But.
I was struggling to name all 4 of those, so I know because again, it's one of those. As soon as I start the name, the first name, I had like, I'm like blanking on the end of it.
I would suggest Christina Hendricks, but then that would still keep Chris Pratt on the bottom.
Yeah. Okay, that brings up an interesting wrinkle. Are they the group of Chris's because they are a group of white male Chris's, or is it more about the name?
Yes, I think it is about them being generally looking alike, and I think it's all that they've all played action characters as well. So, like, there's a lot of overlap between those 4 Chris's.
Yeah. And all being Marvel probably doesn't help. Okay. All right. Yes. Yeah. Well, all right. We'll leave.
No, Pine is not.
Oh, DC. Sorry, DC. Yeah. Nebulous universes. All right, folks. If you have any thoughts on what we just talked about, or if you're like, no, he's trash, don't care about any kind of nuance there, you can also let us know. Might push back against that a little bit, probably a little bit more. Anyway, but get those thoughts into us on the thread, and we're gonna keep on moving. Found this one out in the last couple of minutes. So Paul McCartney's had a children's book, High in the Clouds. Talks about it's a thing about a squirrel and environmentalism. I won't get into the whole. It's a very, very simple plot, but apparently it's a really nice children's book. And Netflix picked it up to be adapted into a movie. And okay, he's like, all right, that seems cool. But the thing that caught my eye was Michael Giacchino. And if you know who he is, he's done the Star Trek, the new Star Trek films, the scores to that, Incredibles, Up, and particularly Up is standing out in my mind of, ooh, wait, Michael Giacchino and Paul McCartney on a touching children's movie? Might tug on that old... Where's my heart at? I don't remember. Might tug on the old heartstrings there.
I don't have one.
I keep trying to tell people that, Tom, but they don't believe me.
Leave it.
Cool. Is there any excitement in your heart for this, Tom? Just a little bit.
I feel like such a downer this week as we were talking about next week's subject. I'm like, nah.
No, it's okay.
I have not cared about Paul McCartney since like George Bush was president, and I just I hope it's good.
Oh man, that's great.
I'm
do hope
sorry.
it's good as well. No, I got you. I see how it is. I see how it is, Tom.
I fully understand that it's a slow news week.
Just hating
Paul McCartney.
hating on Sir McCartney. I like that. Wait, he's been knighted.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Yes.
I was just making
Sir
sure.
Paul.
Sir Paul. Sir Paul.
I'll take an Ian and Patrick over a Paul.
Okay, I would too. That's.
Or Elton.
I like where your head's at. All right, we'll move on from Sir McCartney onto Raya and the Last Dragon, and I'm excited about this for a couple of reasons. Simply put, it's a tale of a warrior named Raya, voiced by Kelly Marie Tran. That might give you a clue into why I'm excited about this. He's in search of a dragon to help her stop a force threatening her home. And Awkwafina is voicing the dragon Sisu that needs to get her powers back before she can help Raya save her home. So Disney's leaning into a fantasy, some high fantasy concepts here, and I'm really excited about that. But Kelly Marie Tran went through the ringer and an absolute shitstorm with The Last Jedi that was not deserved and wasn't fully supported through that process. Hasn't been on social media. I have to double check. I mean, she deleted most of her accounts. I don't know if she's come back or not. But the way she was treated was garbage. To be completely almost like written out of the Rise of Skywalker. It's like, no, Finn, I'll stay here and I'll study up on the Star Destroyers.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't even know what I'm talking about, you might be part of the problem, or maybe you didn't watch the movie. So you probably doing yourself a favor there.
Yes. I hate white people sometimes.
Gosh, I love Star Wars, but I also hate Star Wars.
Yeah, I've been going through a really rough patch with it right now. So
I feel like there's a rant in there though, and
I'm if you want me to vamp, I will vamp. But it's nothing you haven't heard before.
Let's circle back around to it if we have time. I think we will have time. But we'll get through the other things, and then. But yeah, suffice it to say, I'm glad she's getting to be in the title role of Awkwafina in this movie, and hope it does. I couldn't check if this is from the Pixar studio or if this is Disney Animation, so I do need to double check that because this was coming in. The trailer just dropped today, so I do need to. I'll double check on that because it's not saying that Disney Animation is terrible. They've gotten a lot better over the years, but something that comes out as a Pixar film tends to just catch my eye, and you just know the work and craft that's gone into it compared to the Disney Animation group. Yes, are they both owned by Disney? Yes, but the creativity the team gets to maintain is different. So, yeah. All right. I really like this next one because I want to see more people using this technology. So, me and Tom have talked about this with The Mandalorian before during the summer a little bit. And I feel like maybe we were talking about more people. Oh, no. We were talking about during COVID, would more people start using this to like cut down the number of people that need to be in the room and be like, so what we're talking about is stagecraft, but not like your stagecraft, but it's actually the name of the program that's run by Unreal Engine. Unreal's owned by Epic Games, and it's basically projecting a scene around you. The engine projects the landscape, the draw distance to the skyline horizon, can put a sun, depending on how high the projection wall's in, can put a sun above you, a lot of different elements, so that you're no longer looking at a green screen when you're trying to shoot something. You can actually feel like, as an actor or actress, be like actually in the space. And then when you do post-production, that's the real thing that's there. You don't have to go back and be like, oh, let me put stuff back. It's like, no, it's already there, or it's already been captured. The engine knows where it was filmed, and it knows what should be drawn for whatever's filmed.
I'm just excited that something that I played, in a UT clan on is now powering. The Unreal Engine, by the way, is a fantastic thing. If you've never played around with it, I highly suggest it. Up until Paramount and CBS became absolute assholes, there was a fantastic UT engine or Unreal Engine environment. Somebody made a inch per inch recreation of the Enterprise D in Unreal Engine, and it was fantastic.
It's very beautiful.
Yep. So
they try to rip it away from us.
Thanks Paramount and CBS for ruining that, as well as many other fan-based stuff, which is sometimes better than yours. But I'm not bitter about that either.
Axanar?
Axanar, yeah.
So that's the Star Trek fan film that they kept trying to shut it down for just let people create. Let people create.
I mean, after watching Axanar and watching Discovery, like first season of Discovery's growing on me. I still am so furious about what they did with the Klingon War, which was by the way, that happened.
Save it, Tom. Save it. Well, we did not put a Discovery recap on here. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we did.
We did?
Yeah. What to watch this weekend?
Well, I'm saying we should talk about the premiere episode, though. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll circle back around to that. So the reason we brought Mandalorian and Stagecraft, the system, was because the Batman is using it, and it was not news to. I'm sorry, that was very much news to me. But Matt Reeves, the other reason to be excited about this, Matt Reeves, who directed the last two Planet of the Apes movies, so that's Dawn and War, already had a really good keen eye for CGI anyway, so I can only imagine this will make him, put him another step up. Because, go back and rewatch those movies. The Rise of the Planet of the Apes is okay. It's all right. I really love Dawn and I love War. I think they've been criminally underrated or underseen, and knowing what he's done CGI there with Andy Serkis, and then getting to run this program for Batman, I can only imagine it's going to look really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the only thought I'd had, though, is what scenes or applications are they really going to use it in, but maybe we'll have to see when the behind-the-scenes stuff comes out and be like, we used it in this fight scene, or we used it in this dream sequence or something like that.
Yeah, for Batman, I think it is a bit of a challenge, because rear projection is still light generating, and Batman isn't exactly the brightest of filmmaking processes. The Batman animated series famously drew all their work on black paper to capture the animation, which was just unheard of at the time. So,
Fanatic, created quite the aesthetic, though, for that show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Definitely agree with you on the rear projection and light. That it'd be. Yeah, I really want to see the behind the scenes on that and see where it was used and how that played out. All right.
Yes.
Tom.
Yes.
Tom.
What?
Do you know who Simon Kinberg is? I'm gonna take a pause before we get into Power Rangers.
Oh. No, I do not know who Simon. Or I may know who Simon is.
Well, he got to write some of the last X-Men movies.
Okay.
Directed the last one that's not New Mutants. So, Dark Phoenix.
Okay.
Did you watch Dark Phoenix, Tom?
I did.
What did you think of it, Tom?
I'm very happy that
Where are we going?
Sophie Turner is getting work.
That's all right. I can get behind that. So Simon Kinberg, that was his directorial debut with Dark Phoenix, and it showed. That, I mean, I get that he's a great writer, but that would not have been the one I would given him creative control on. Although I do want to give him kudos for the fight scenes in that movie. When the X-Men teamed up in that movie, it felt like they teamed up, and probably in ways that we've never seen. Like, it actually looked like they were working and coordinating stuff together. And I'm like, gosh, all I need is the oh gosh, now I'm gonna forget it. What's the Colossus and X-Men? Or sorry, Colossus and Wolverine. It's not the knuckleball. Pinball special. Zach would kill me right now for messing this up. This is bad. Well, we can look it up here in a second.
I thought Pinball Special was Deadpool's fan fiction about Colossus, but
it probably is. It should be. If it's not, yeah, I'll look that up here in a second. So yeah, I want to give kudos to that. What we're actually talking about, though, is he's been greenlit to shoot a Battlestar Galactica movie, the long-rumored Battlestar Galactica movie that had been in the back burner for years, especially like ever since the reimagined series came out in the early aughts. I don't.
No.
Like, why? Like, why do we?
No.
Why do we need this? We don't. Like, I'm already apprehensive about the new show coming out, but the only reason I'm giving it a chance is because it's Sam Esmail. I like Mr. Robot.
Yep.
So that's really the only reason I'm going to give that a shot, because I'm like, I don't think he'll screw this up, or at least the story he wants to tell will be interesting enough to spend some time on it. But I don't need a Battlestar movie. I don't need it.
I think from now on we need, in order to do a remake of something, there needs to be a comprehensive business case to the fans, and basically try and convince us that there is a story that has not been told that needs to be told out of this. Because unless he's thinking about like doing the battle between Earth, the humans and Cylons, like a prequel to Battlestar Galactica, something between Caprica and
when they travel to Earth
and BSG.
Yeah.
Then I could possibly be open to that, but
exactly.
I don't know. I don't know what they're going to get. Like, I'm actually having a hard time imagining what Sam Esmail is going to get out of this that Ronald Moore did not.
Yeah, but, I mean, it's definitely a different. Like, some things that are immediate to my mind. It's like, it's got to be a different Battlestar, like, because he's already said it's not a straight up remake. So I'm like, okay, so you've got to be following some other group that made it out and had their own tale. And I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we see a subtitle or even a change, like it's the Battlestar this. So it's like, yeah, it's in the universe, but this is a different, because at least that way you leave the other characters alone and you tell your own thing.
It's Battlestar Left Behind.
Oh,
starring.
No. Oh, why'd you have to say it like that?
Yep.
No, you didn't.
Starring Kirk Cameron.
No! Stop it! Kirk Cameron. Oh my gosh, that did not just happen. Oh gosh. We should review Left Behind. Both of them. The Kirk Cameron one and the Nick Cage one.
Yep.
Gosh, I would rip into that so much. Wait, did you see that post on my wall about Jason Alexander? And they're doing this. It's an indie film about bad Christian movies. It's like it's following this.
Somebody doesn't look at the things I post on their wall, anyways.
Yo, Tom, I saw a lot of. I missed one thing. Actually, it's probably not the only thing I've missed, but in the recent couple of days, I missed one thing.
Yeah.
Hold me over the coals for it.
It was a big one.
All right, watching Alexander Ocasio-Cortez play Among Us was quite fun, and seeing Han's daughter, like just beast, just beast for it. Like, she's great. That was a good little group. I'm not gonna lie.
Yep.
So, thank you to Tom and everyone who shared that link to me that night. I'm glad I got to watch.
I'm still dining out on the fact that Don West 10 years ago used a bottle of Veuve Clicquot that I had in my fridge, like $50 bottle of champagne for mimosas for a bunch of drunk girls while I was gone. And so, yeah, anytime he and I are together and we're walking through a liquor store, which is pretty much every time we're together, at some point I'll walk past the Veuve and I'll point and be like, hey, look at that. It's on sale.
Oh, gosh. All right. Let's play Would You Rather, because this will tie us into the other topic. I didn't get into the notes here in time. Would you rather have a Simon Kinberg Battlestar movie that we didn't ask for, or Leah Thompson from Back to the Future, Howard the Duck, doing a film adaptation of the stage musical Back to the Future that is, in fact, a stage musical of the movie Back to the Future?
Is this a serious undertaking or a mockumentary?
Oh, serious. She's dead serious.
Is it... If it's a documentary, then yes, I'm leaning towards Leah Thompson, because that is a story within a story that could be told. So it could be about the making of, which is just, that could be fascinating and good character.
Sorry, so I caught that one out of the corner of my eye before we jumped on and didn't have time to write it down, but you know, musicals can do this, though. It's like the one, as much as we do remakes and prequels, it seems like it's the one medium that you can reinterpret something else into it and then put back on the screen, and we don't tend to, like, freak out. And I don't know why. If you ask me for examples right now, I'm gonna blank. So don't do that. I'll pull receipts.
I have none.
I'll pull receipts. This is a phenomenon. I'm not making it up. This is a phenomenon where it's gone like back through the prisms multiple times. Actually, no. Immediate example comes to mind. There's a TV show that's going to be High School Musical, the TV show, but it's still a reflection from the movie they made. So it's High School the Musical, High School Musical, which are the movies, and they're filtering that back through to TV.
That was just Glee.
I don't disagree with you. You'll hear no complaints. You'll hear no arguments from me. Like, why do we need that? Go.
Yeah, because like, I've been rewatching Glee. Everybody is a freaking monster in that movie, or TV show, but they're all so lovable.
Side tangent, but we can come up back to another time. Doesn't have to be tonight. You were talking about your '80s directors and their soundtracks. I've noticed a trend that the late '80s and '90s were the inspirational things for kids were like Mighty Ducks, Air Bud, Angel in the Outfield, Rookie of the Year, and then I think in the 2000s it became like dance competitions and music like song contests.
Okay, yeah.
Because I was trying to think of what has been the titular like kids sports, or like put the kid in the sport space into the 2000s, and I was having a hard time. I'm like, God, was that all in the 90s? And it's like there was some that were like early 2000s, but it's like that genre died off, and then it became more about singing and dance. Now I might still, maybe I'll find something that just didn't make a big buzz, as I go back down through the list. But I was having a hard time nailing it more down. Aside from like Mike, which is like little, not Little Romeo, Bow Wow, which is Bow Wow who gets the Jordan sneakers and ends up playing like Michael Jordan and a pro or like an actual NBA, which no
Angels in the outfield there. The only other thing I can think of which actually could have been the death knell for it. I need to look it up. Is the Not Karate Kung Fu Kid with
it was like Will Smith's
it was 2010. Yeah. Yeah, no, that was 2010. So, yeah, no.
Yeah, and I'm not even saying we should go back to those. I just found it interesting that, like, what happened to those, you know.
So what would be it for the teens then?
Oh, I don't know. I'll have to die. Ooh. I'm not even sure what the title is. Is it like wish fulfillment movies for kids?
Like, I always thought it was like moment to shine type of films, because it's always like, and sports did dominate that from like the 70s till the 90s, and maybe people were just like, I'm sick of this.
Oh shit! I bet it's video games. I bet that's what did
Ready
it.
Player One. Oh wait, video games changed people's perspectives of sports.
Yeah,
or
I think
are the teens.
It could be either or. I'd have to think more about movies that are like video game movies that maybe happened in the teens that I'm not aware of. But my first thought was, I think video games might have less kids get interested in sports or getting interested in more other hobbies that are now more mainstream. I wonder if that's like why they're not as interested in a kid-oriented sports movie. It's not that sports movies have died down. It's like we still get sports movies, but the reason we don't get a kids like this is for you and think about yourself in these shoes. It's like, yeah, I wonder if video games have changed that perspective.
You know, I appreciate that, because there's no longer that, and I'm so happy for this from a psychological socio perspective. There isn't that ride or die, everything matters with winning the game attitude, it seems, with video games and just in kids sports these days. And maybe video games caused that, or maybe it was the new parents, you know, the Gen Xers are just like, nah, I lost that game and I'm still a senior vice president at this place, so this isn't the end all be all for these kids. Why put that stupid pressure on them?
The whole premise of not the whole premise, like one premise is like Gordon Bombay getting drunk in Mighty Ducks, but the other thing is like he's still hung up off a shot he missed in Pee-wee hockey.
Yes. Well, and
I'm not trying to say
like, you know, Johnny Lawrence's entire life was destroyed because some small kid from Jersey kicked him in the face in front of 100 people. Like, it's a good story, it's a compelling story, but at the same time, when you take a moment and think about it, you're just like, Jesus, what is wrong with this guy? Yeah.
Now, obviously, we could point more to the coach of the team that put so much weight on Gordon, like without him having a father figure, and this surrogate coach is probably who he might have thought of in that way. So maybe that's what they're trying to say, but doing it in a sloppy way, is that it's not that you missed a shot, but it's that you got no affirmation or positivity from your, like, quote unquote father in that moment. You know, and all he does is kind of hold his head down and beats it, like grinds it into your nose that you missed. It's like, now if that's more of what they're talking about, yeah, that could have an effect on the kid. That it's not about the shot at that point, it's about their relationship. And I guess maybe that's what Mighty Ducks is trying to say, but
and that is what Cobra Kai was trying to say. Was because he while he did lose, it wasn't so much that he lost, it was the fact that his teacher kicked the crap out of him and almost killed him afterwards for losing.
Yeah.
I have feelings about that.
Man. All right. We're going to come back to that in another episode. Oh my gosh. Yes. The coming of age. You know what? I know we're doing soundtracks of the coming of age thing, but I also feel like after we do that, it could dovetail right into this
the tropes of coming of age type of things.
I love it. I love it, Tom.
Because I love, like, weird science is kind of like that, but it doesn't involve sports. It involves science and making women. But it involves science. And it has Robert Downey Jr. in it.
RDJ. 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 All right. Well, we're going to dive right back into... Well, I guess it's not diving back into the 90s. Power Rangers are still around. But apparently Saban didn't get the memo that shared universes are a bad idea. Stop it. Quit. Everyone doesn't need your cinematic universe. But that being said, Power Rangers probably makes a lot of sense for that. I know, as much as I want to crap on it, it's like, yeah, but it's probably not that hard for you to do. If you make another Power Ranger movie, and you always have a Power Rangers TV show on the television. I mean, is it really that much of a stretch to say, like, this is going to be connected between that one movie and the show? And kids will probably eat that up and buy all the toys.
Yeah. This one, I mean, honestly, Saban has been doing this forever. It usually was the other way around, though. So that TV fed the movies as opposed to movies feeding the TV.
And they've had some. Before we get into the final-ish main topic of the night,
type of success.
Well, I was like, but they've had like I think it's Mega. I'm not gonna try to say what the subtitle is. I'm just gonna stop myself. But they've had these major team ups in the show universe already. Mm-hmm. So like they'll bring back a Ranger from another season or something. And then recently they've had some major. I don't know what it was about, but they have had some major villain come back and bring back a lot of the old villains. So then the Power Rangers had to bring back like almost almost damn near the whole pantheon of Rangers, and it is like this massive villain Ranger fight.
Listen, Amy Jo Johnson needs something on her SAG card. Of course.
Hey, she's been. Hey! She's been doing.
Okay, fine. Maybe Amy Jo Johnson's not the right one.
All the rest of them probably do. Oh God, is she the only successful Power Ranger?
Yes.
I guess Tom.
Oh.
I guess you could say you could say.
No.
I don't. Wait. I don't mean in a. Did this pivot you into acting success? I just mean Tommy Oliver, Jason David Frank. Just as far as like as being a successful human being, loved at the top dude at conventions, and still having like.
Oh yeah, he does okay there. I remember being at C2E2, and Mark and I were walking through, and there was like, meet Tommy, the Green Ranger, and there, there's a line, and then we're walking through all the booths, and there's David something or other, the Blue Ranger and the Black Ranger.
David Yost.
David Yost, yes. Just sitting there alone in a booth waiting to sign things.
That hurts.
We just felt so horrible for them. And
but it happens. It happens. Yep. It's not just C2E2. Like, go to a Star Trek convention. There's clear faves.
Yes, not everybody can be a Kirk. So.
Ooh. Sometime I should tell you. It was a Harry Kim's.
Oh man.
His story about. Gosh, they all have stories about. Shatner. They all have stories about Shatner. As far as I'm like, as awesome as he can be, like him, he's also an asshole. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was done with Shatner. There's a local radio DJ by the name of Mancow many years ago had a splat attack. Hey, Mancow was the number 2 guy right behind Stern, and he used to mock Stern for going to Sirius because Mancow cared about more ears than he did money at the time. But yeah, Shatner was at this paintball excursion, and he was a bit of a prick. But man, I feel for Harry Kim, because that guy, I remember in one reunion he was crying because he felt like he failed to not make Janeway and Seven of Nine become better friends or something like that. That guy feels hard.
Yeah. So our last one of the night, gosh, sorry, it makes me think. Side note, I got to get Zach in here to talk convention stuff, because he knows. One of our previous writers knows all the ins and outs. A lot of the not talking about gossip, but just more of the like, you would not believe the crap that happened that weekend, like, and can regurgitate it very well. And spin into a really good story also. Like, so it's not like, and these are the details as they have.
Lost her mind and threw feces at various fans.
Whoa! Just kidding. All right.
Well, the guy who plays Flash would not shake the hand of any person who, talked to him about Glee. So.
Yeah. Something else sad. We ended up talking the show already. Like, we've already said a lot of what we have to say on this for the Cleopatra. So we didn't get to talk about it last week. It's the only reason we're bringing it back up here. But just kind of want to clear up some plot points that you may not be aware of. So, and there have been some good articles that have come up behind this to explain the racial issues or dynamics for Gal Gadot playing Cleopatra, directed by Patty Jenkins. And I don't get the sense it's necessarily a passion project, but I do feel like they're attracted to the idea of a powerful woman figure, and that's the reason I think a lot of people want to do Cleopatra throughout the years. It's a very powerful woman figure, a bunch around a lot of men, in an age where that was not as common, and still I could argue is not as common today. But we'll be there forever if we get into that one. But the quick facts we got to hit. Previous Cleopatras in Hollywood have been all white. So the most famous is Elizabeth Taylor. Like, if anyone thinks of Cleopatra in old Hollywood, it's Elizabeth Taylor, and that ain't anywhere close to what Cleopatra would have looked like. She just like not even by a country mile. But on the other end of the spectrum, I think the default feeling for people is that, oh, she's in Africa, so she must have been black, or she must have been like what you'd think of as current African color skin tone today. That is also not right. And again, like we were saying at the beginning of the show, it is a possibility that her mother was African and we just don't know. There's been a little bit of speculation on that. But her dad was definitely, and the rest of the lineage of what she claims her family legacy was not African. She may have been accepted by the Africans that she lived amongst in Egypt, and even Egypt itself is kind of in this interesting thing, but where they're not as, let's just say, other African countries have beef with Egypt. I'm just gonna leave it as simple as that. So sometimes they don't get claimed.
Yep.
So again, it's not saying Egypt is Middle East, but it also is Middle East. So there's another dynamic there too. But no, Cleopatra was not African, but she definitely would have been brown. That's not, if anyone's debating that. So I was like, nah, she would have been brown skin. She would have been a darker brown skin kind of complexion. And knowing where her family was from Macedonia, Greece, that tracks. So, and then if her mother had ended up being African, it's possible she ended up darker, even darker than that. But we don't know that one for sure. So at least the baseline we'll do is brown skin. So is Gal Gadot the right look or the right actress to play this role? No. I mean, if we're going to be completely honest, no. But I think there might be some cultural identity that's tied up in this for Gal. Again, I think sometimes people forget that she's Israeli and is not like parents. It's not like born in America, parents Israeli. It's like, no, grew up in Tel Aviv,
no,
full up,
served in the army.
Yep. We forget that too.
Yes, she is more badass than pretty much every other person in the DC universe, every other actor in the DC universe. Just going to point that out there. She could kick the crap out of both.
Yeah.
Both Superman and Batman.
So based on her family history, it's closer. So this is the, as far as like people being cast to play Cleopatra, she's the closest we've gotten. But she's just not, her skin tone is just not what should be presented for this role. And she's, even if Gal Gadot is not traditionally white as we think about here in America or across the world, she still presents very white. To the fact of, like, I might be shocking some of you by even giving you the lineage I just said for her family. Where you're like, I did not. She's like, I've seen that on social media. Of like, whoa, I didn't know that. It's like, her name.
Yeah.
I thought the name would be quite the cue-in, but apparently not.
So yeah, she's New York white, but she's not Klan white. Yes, I said that. You're welcome.
Wow. It's accurate. Not even gonna get mad at it. So yeah, I don't.
So at least it's not. At least it's not Scarlett Johansson. We can at least start with that.
Did Scarlett Johansson? Did she try out for it?
Scarlett Johansson, or even though we haven't seen her that often, Emma Stone.
She's not gonna be able to let that one down. Scarlett doesn't care, so but poor Emma Stone,
No.
I think if you were to ask her, she'd be like, "Hey, yeah, I'm sorry about that," but it's like it's on your resume. So yeah, this is a. I think there's a like cultural identity issue here and a colorism issue, but not necessarily like it could be a little bit of whitewashing, but not to the same degree of a white person took a black role. It's like, you did take a minority role, but to say it was a black person's role is, Not to mention, and this is the other thing. Y'all do know Macedonians or the Ptolemy dynasty. Get a little history nerd for you. Like, they were occupying Egypt. Like, even though they come to accept it over time, which is still a problematic statement of saying a subjugated people accepted the rule of the land. Like, yeah, it's not like they could do much about it. So that's kind of I hate seeing that statement. It's like, oh, they loved it. Like, yeah, they might have had no choice. You might turn into love or appreciate or admiration over hundreds of years because you have no choice. But her family were the oppressors of Egypt, so I don't know why people I'm not saying I don't know why. We talk about the female empowerment from the role. It's like, I get that, but it's also coded in this. But you are still playing a role of an oppressor in this. So I feel like that's another context that just doesn't get talked about at all in this. So.
Mm-hmm. And I was just thinking about like Egyptian actors and actresses that could play it, and there is not too much that has star quality. Like, and when I think about it, it's like Rami Malek is Egyptian.
Yeah,
and
he has played a pharaoh in Night in the Museum.
Yes.
Which is wow, which is another. That's a story for another day. Some issues there, but hey, at least at least I didn't throw some white dude in the pharaoh role during that movie. Wow, Night in the Museum, somehow a little more progressive than a movie about Cleopatra.
Yeah. Now I'm
if Sacagawea in that movie is actually Native American, I will my brain will explode.
I'm just happy that they didn't cast Ben Kingsley or something like that.
Yeah, let's just not.
Like Pharaoh. I mean, he needed something to bounce back from playing the Mandarin.
Gosh, we don't have time for it in this show, but we need to do a colorism throughout Hollywood. Get to the Mickey Rooney, Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Must we?
Yeah.
Can we just shut the show with that was terrible? Should never have happened. The past was racist as fuck. The end.
Or Zoe Saldana playing Nina Simone, and they had to darken her up to play it. And like, if that wasn't a tip off that she's not the one for this role, I don't know what is. So,
FYI, Mizu Peck played Sacagawea. She was born in New York. She's only known for 3. Her best-known films are Night at the Museum, Night at the Museum, Battle of the Smithsonian, video game, and Night at the Museum, Secret of the Tomb. Oh, you poor thing.
Oh, gosh. Okay. All right. But closer. All right. Maybe not. We'll have to figure out where lineage is. I'm sorry. I was like, wow. It's not like it's Night in the Museum that closer. It's more accurate. Wow. That is. All right.
No, she is English, Irish, and Japanese.
Well, they half points. They get half points for Remy Malek. And then,
E for effort.
E for effort. No, it's E for everyone, Tom. Everyone can play. Okay, never mind. I'm going to stop myself. All right. So, in the wrap-up, we're going to talk about what to watch this weekend. But before we talk about one of the episodes, we got to give you our impressions from Star Trek Discovery. You've already seen my review for episode 1. So, I guess, Tom, you want to take it off? Like, kick off your thoughts, and then I can just kind of chime in a little bit at the end.
So, in my hindsight thoughts now, I enjoyed it while it was in. This is how I feel about the process that I go through with every seemingly modern Star Trek thing. Is I go through and I enjoy it while it's happening, and then I think about it, and then I'm a little bit irritated, but then I'm just okay with it. I enjoyed it while I was going through. I'm thinking there's a little bit too much. I'm done with dystopian timelines. I'm done with dystopian this period, which is where I'm like.
Why would that be, Tom? Is it because like real life is too close to it right now?
Yes. Listen, if Black Mirror had the wherewithal to say, like, listen, we're sparing you this season for a year because it's just too much, maybe Star Trek could try and like gear a little bit towards hope.
Okay, but is this dystopian, or is it just like, you know, a faction of the universe is just no more?
I think it's kind of interesting because like I don't know what they're trying to do yet with it, and I wasn't super keen on the whole Star Wars cantina feel of the exchange.
I have some thoughts on that. Yeah,
it seemed a little bit too try hard. Did you watch episode 2 yet?
No, not yet. Because it comes out tomorrow, or today. Sorry. Yeah. So it's out right now.
So somebody watched it before the show.
Tom.
And
I still got movies to watch from the festival, which I'm gonna have to do once we get off.
So I'm gonna spoil it. No, I'm not gonna spoil it too much. But I am both hopeful but also disappointed that I think that this season of Discovery is going to be basically a condensed series of Andromeda, of Gene Roddenberry's Andromeda.
Oh yeah, Kyle was texting me about that when it came, or the morning after, and he's like, "Oh, they're going Andromeda with this." I don't know how I felt. And his thing was like, I don't know how I feel about that yet.
So yeah, like it's okay. So they're going to rebuild Starfleet now. Wonderful. But
okay, so let me jump in real quick.
Sure.
I have similar I have similar feelings. Again, I haven't seen episode 2, but I had similar feelings just from episode 1. But if I'm just going to focus on episode 1, I loved Burnham and Cook. Like, it took me a little bit because I'm like, what is Cook's deal? I'm like, there's definitely something, like, they're going to reveal something's up with him. And then they did it toward the end of the episode, which, if you haven't seen it yet, go check that out. There's not a huge spoiler to say, like, he's not the scoundrel he kind of comes off to be at the start of the...
Also, isn't that just a tired trope as well?
Tired trope?
Yeah,
tired
trope.
Heart of gold.
Scoundrel with a heart of gold.
Ah, come on, Tom. Live a little.
I'm sorry. As I said, I'm like super cynical this week.
It's okay. But I liked how the relationship built throughout the episode. I'm already shipping them super hard from one episode. Like, I need to see this come together. But because Tyler in the previous 2 seasons, I was kind of So, I also having another black love interest in a Star Trek show. I was trying to think about when has that happened, or is not alluded to like off screen, like with Sisko's wife. But I mean, if there's a Trekkie fan out there that wants to let me know, but I'm kind of blanking.
No, they did on screen with Penny and Sisko.
Well, I mean, okay, but I mean it's like a constant. Like, she's a crew member that's going to be there for... yeah. Whereas this one looks like Cook might get integrated into the crew over time and might be there for a while. That's all I really mean by that. It's like, yes, sure. Yes, Penny and Sisko, definitely thing. But, like, if it had been, like, wife is still alive and comes to Deep Space, of course, but that changes a lot of Deep Space Nine, so can't do that. But,
yes. By the way, speaking of, did you watch the last episode of Lower Decks?
No, I have not. I have not started Lower Decks.
Okay.
I've had no time. Heard great things. Sounds hilarious. I think I'll love it.
I still have mixed feelings about it. I'm so much more hopeful for season 2.
Okay.
Like, Star Trek, you see, they're following the typical thing of first seasons, meh. Second season is where they find their legs. And here's the thing, like, it's funny, but to me it wasn't Trek. It was too frantic. It was too Rick and Morty.
Rick and Morty!
And not enough Star Trek. And, like, I think they didn't work hard enough at being funny within the realm of Star Trek, which I think is really easy to do. But instead, they instead of like working within the realm, they're just like shooting in from the outside about look how stupid this is.
Okay, so it's not coming from a like love and appreciation with the ability to poke at itself. It's more of outside and only really able to like the jokes only land as if like you're poking or kind of hitting it over the head. Is that kind of...
Yes. I mean, someone is definitely going to say, what are you talking about? No, there's definitely love and appreciation for it. And I'm like, there's appreciation, but I don't know if there's always love.
Okay. No, that's a fair... And when I watch it, I'll keep that in mind, see if I agree with that. But yeah, that's definitely... That would not surprise me at all. You think about half the problems we have with New Trek, with the Abrams verse, is he's not a Trekkie. And it's not that visually this New Trek is bad, and it may not be people's cup of tea, but it's like the spirit of these is different. And it's like it's significantly different. And kind of the same thing with even with Discovery. Like I think they're getting closer to that to find their own path, and that's why I'm most excited about this season. But it's still it's still there.
I mean, I do kind of want to see Burnham go Kevin Sorbo and kind of double down on the Federation ideals a bit. Also, the other thing that is going to be interesting about this is that this season is going to be the first time a full-time captain is an alien.
Yeah, of course. Have they resolved that? Oh no! Don't tell me.
That was resolved in season 2.
No, no. Tom.
Yes, it was.
No, it was not.
Saru was given the con of the Discovery as going into the future.
No. What do him and Burnham say? They're like, we'll figure that out. There was not a yes. Is he running the com right now? Yes, but he deflects the decision when they had the conversation. Okay. Go back and I gotta remember what episode it was. It is you're right. Nope. It is toward the end, but he deflects it. And they both. I guess not to say it's him, but they both deflect it for a little bit. They're like, I remember that conversation quite well.
Okay.
Now if I'm flat out wrong and imagine that, also feel free to call me out. If you go back and look at it, you're like, nah, that ain't what happened. Like, all right. I won't be hurt. I mean, yeah, I will be, but it'd be mostly at myself for screwing it up.
I mean, I look forward to both of them like grabbing some Vulcan Pugil weapons and battling it out for captainship.
Dun 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 dun. All right, but yeah, episode 2 is out now. I also get my review out sometime this weekend. I gotta prioritize Chicago Film Festival, but I'll try to get my quick video review out at some point this weekend. Tom, you want to take the next one?
Yes. So, Borat 2 is releasing tomorrow. And this is now, we'll probably talk a little bit more about this next week once we've all seen it. But this has made international news because they released some shots and a scene of Rudy Giuliani, of all people, being invited back to a hotel room by an underage person who's involved in the Borat film. And touching himself on a bed. So I expect to, and I hope that there's more of that. Not more of that type of gotcha going on, because it's interesting because I wasn't a fan of Borat when I first saw it because I felt like there was that his lens was too wide on things. Like he was just capturing a lot of the ridiculousness of America. And I think through, I forgot the name of his show that he had last year on HBO that lasted for like a season.
You talking about recently or?
Yeah, like a year or two ago, he did this show where he had like 3 or 4 different characters. One was like an ex-Israeli
I remember a while back it was like the alley.
No.
Like a while back it was Ali G, but I don't know what happened recently.
I'll let you know this in 1 second. But I appreciate that he's starting to focus a little bit more. Like in the thing, it was Who is America? That was the show in 2018. So like during that, he like uncovered a underage prostitution ring in high-end Las Vegas hotels, for example, or other things like that. And I appreciate what he's doing with that now.
Yeah.
Less so back when he was. He was.
It seemed like it was more like comedy's sake that happens to might have a sharp criticism, whereas now he's past the sharp criticism and it's like, no, I want to take some folks down. Like this needs to be pulled out and be shown for what it is.
Yep.
And again, I haven't seen it yet, but be curious when we get into it where it holds up. But just I think people have forgotten like he's pulled himself out of the limelight to go to work. And, like really, like he's been championing a lot of causes. Child trafficking's been one of trying to provide support for hunting folks down and online research. And I forget some of the other things he's been doing as well. So it's not just that. There's a couple other things he's been. And you can check YouTube. He's been giving speeches and things on it and trying to get in front of different parliaments and legislative bodies to draw attention. So I'm like kind of in a similar way to Ashton Kutcher. Haven't seen him doing a whole lot because it's not just like a popularity of Ashton Kutcher thing. It's like no, he's been focused on where he can help more. So Bravo.
Yes. Though I will say that I was never a fan of his shows early on, except for The Dictator, and only because of one line in that entire film. Is he buys out like an entire floor of the Waldorf Astoria, and he finally sits down in his suite, and he looks down, and he's like, $12 a day for Wi-Fi? Because after buying out the entire thing, and it becomes a recurring joke throughout the entire thing. And at the time, I was traveling a lot for work, and every hotel that I went to, $12 a day for Wi-Fi.
Like, I kind of get it on an airplane, because it's like you're using a satellite thing, but, yeah.
Yep.
Like, come on. All right. And the last one, this is before we get to horror stuff next week. Bad Hair. It's been making its round on the festival circuit. Lena Waithe, was it Jay Farrow? I forget who else is in this movie. But it's centered around the black people's hair in a horror setting. It's going to have a really sharp cultural satire on it. It's really about all I know, because again, I try not to read reviews before I'm going to review something, so can't give you much more than that. But from the looks of it, it looks really cool. And I'm always like, if I can get a good black horror movie, like, I'm down. Like, if it's not like Bones or like was it Leprechaun in the Hood? If I can get something that's not hilarious like that, but gets more into like the version of like Get Out or No. Give me something like Get Out. Give me Candyman, and not the remake, folks. I'm talking about the 92 Candyman. By
the way, I'm mad at myself, and I'm mad at all of us because I don't think any of us mentioned Get Out in our list.
We'll talk about it. I have feelings. I just want to give Get Out more time. I'm not saying it's a bad horror movie. I just want to give it a little more time. It might crack my list someday, and it definitely could go into honorable mention for sure. It's become such a rallying cry for people of like, I saw Get Out. It's like, I don't.
Yes. And I had that thought. I'm like, Get Out should be good. And also, actually, sorry for bothering you. Sorry to bother you. I think that qualifies as a horror movie.
Yeah. I hadn't thought about it, but yeah. For some people, Black Klansman would also be a horror movie, but but that's none of my business. Oh, we're off the rails. This is what happens when it's a slow news week. All right, we're gonna wrap. Thanks for hanging in there with us, folks. Definitely appreciate everyone that's still viewing us. And so what do we have coming up? Talked at the start of the show about our movie marathon, and we've had some updates to it. So we were originally going to do the movie club movie of the month tonight. That's been pushed to Friday. So what's going to happen is I didn't want that to be necessarily be horror, but it just ended up that it's also going to we're running out of, like, we're starting to narrow down the list, and we're like, there's some we really want people to watch. So The Thing, if you ever not seen John Carpenter's The Thing, that is going to be the movie club movie this month on October 30th. So that's the Friday, and that'll start at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. And it's available on numerous streaming services you can check out on our Facebook page. But if you don't have available, we'll also stream it within our Discord server and our Discord video chat as we watch the movie. As always, there'll be a little pre-chat to kind of give you some ideas to be thinking about when you watch the movie. And then we always have the post-movie discussion that, even though it's slotted for an hour, I've given it more time because the last one we did, we talked for a while.
Yes. We had to close it off at midnight.
But it was a good chat. Like, I'm glad people came with questions and had thoughts, and I did like, please bring that same energy every single time.
And also it helped me fulfill my thought process on obsessions of androids. and that it is a false. It's a lie that we've told ourselves because people are cheap in making movies.
And then and also for our Patreon users, remember you get to have a voice in what we watch each month. So if you want to be able to get your votes in on that, join our Patreon at the lowest tier, and you'll be able to have the opportunity to do that. And on top of, you're getting to support us and the videos we create here and the things that we write. So that's always cool. The next day, starting at 10 a.m. Oof, I know it's early, but we got to start early. We will not get through enough movies. We've curated a list of horror movies to watch throughout the day, starting at 10 a.m. on Halloween. So feel free to dress up in your favorite costume if you want to. Change costumes throughout the day. You don't have to sit and watch the entire thing either. You can come in and watch the movie that you want to watch, and you could leave. Like that's okay.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna have
it. Sign up for.
Yeah, there will always be a Nerd Union alumni or a person in the Discord. So there's always gonna be someone to help kind of like run the marathon because I'm gonna be there for a lot of it, but I'm gonna have to take breaks. It's just Vartan's on Mountain Time, so he's probably not gonna be up for the first movie. And that's just gonna be. If you're some of our Pacific or Mountain Time folks, I don't expect you to wake up at 10 a.m., which would be 8 a.m. on your day on a Saturday. So totally understand. But also on the vice versa, we also get the times fallback that night, which is also an advantage. We can maybe squeeze in another. It's looking like it's 8 movies right now. We might be able to squeeze a 9th one in. So we're still working on a list, and we'll get that out hopefully Monday morning, so you can know what's coming up throughout the week. But really excited about that. They'll join us on the show on Wednesday night, so we can talk about our lists. And I was already saying that we picked some off those lists. We picked some that weren't quite on the list, but we just wanted people to see. And we'll talk about the ones that didn't make it to the marathon and why we loved them. So yeah, I'm excited.
Yep.
I know horror is not. Go ahead.
My one request is Event Horizon. Let's do it later in the day, since we all agree that is.
Yeah. I might kick off with my Suspiria, my Italian horror movie, to start off the day.
Okay.
But yeah, if our heavy hitters, Event Horizon. I'm not letting that. It needs to be dark when we watch Event Horizon, and I'm not saying it'd be cool if we could watch these all in the dark, but Event Horizon particularly, definitely agree. Got to be later in the day.
My suggestion is if we do TerrorVision, it'll be the last as a palate cleanser for the evening. So and maybe on Saturday or on Wednesday when we talk about it, you will hear my rant about horror movies.
I'm expecting it, but bring it. I'm okay if it's a different opinion. It's okay. It's all right.
Yep.
I'm down for it.
It's little secret. It's my same rant as the remake of Doom.
Of Dune?
Doom, the video game.
Oh, okay. All right. I might have a feel. Okay. Got it. I feel like I might have an.
Here's one. What lesser demon is in charge of lighting all these candles?
All right. With that, folks, we're going to sign off here. Thank you all for joining us. You can always leave messages on the chat, and we'll get to them later. So if you had a thought afterwards, Facebook page is open. You can join our Discord, start a thread, and start a chat there. A lot of people do it during the movies and stuff, but we'd love to see stuff during the week. And Jerry Maynard, our creative director, is probably going to start throwing some more polls and questions and trivia out there. So in the lead up to this week, I might help him craft some of that for the horror movie stuff. But yeah, we'd love participation. So even if you're not going to join Patreon, things like that, that's not a requirement to have fun here with us. We love hearing your voices and having you participate. So long as you're not a jerk. Don't be a jerk. You know who you are. There's some emails that I've gotten that have been
All right.
But that's none of my. We're not gonna. We'll get to that another time. Tom, good to see you as always.
Good to see you.
All right. Until next week, y'all.